Hey everyone, Pastor Sean here, back at you with another under 10-minute devotion. And of course, I hope your devotions go longer. I hope you're having a great day. And, before I get into today's passage, I'm going to create a hook. And I love creating a hook into a passage that comes from one of my favorite trilogies, Star Wars. When I say trilogy, I mean the original 3 Star Wars. Those are by far the best Star Wars. And I'm going to take you back to Return of the Jedi. And if you're familiar with Star Wars, you know that some of the particular characters that are most beloved in Return of the Jedi are the Ewoks. They're the cute, cuddly, furry things that everyone's like, they're so cute, they're so great. And there's a point in the movie where they not knowing who they are, they capture Luke and Han and Layla and C-3PO, and R2-D2, and they see C-3PO. And they think C-3PO is their god or a god, however. And I actually had to look this up because there's all these Star Wars fanboys have their own idea of what the Ewoks' religion or spirituality was. And that's a whole nother tangent. That's a rabbit trail. So I'm going to shoot the rabbit and get back on task. They worship C-3PO. And so the scene is them holding C-3PO up and they're carrying him along and they're chanting in their Ewok language and they're bowing down to him. And it got me thinking, they are worshiping something that is created, and they are not worshiping its creator. That's the hook. They are worshiping the creation instead of the creator, which leads me into today's passage, which is from the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 18 to 25. So you got your Bible, you can go right there. And if you're familiar with the book of Romans in general, it is Paul's greatest writing. Many people believe that. I can see why. It is his greatest theological treatise, his magnus opus perhaps. And he goes right out of the gate explaining some deep theological truths, and he just continues all the way to the end of the book. And we're only going to be looking at just a small portion of an argument that he's making about who we are to worship and why. So beginning in verse 18, and we'll take it all the way to verse 25. And then in this particular passage is bookended by 2 other really prominent passages. Just right before it, we read that the righteous shall live by faith, a particular verse that was meaningful to Martin Luther. Now you get into verse 18, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. So the righteous shall live by faith, and those who are unrighteous, you know what they're doing? They're suppressing the truth about who God is. Verse 19. For what can be made known about God is plain to them, because God has shown them. How has God shown all humanity about who he is? For, you can kind of follow the prepositions in this particular passage. So verse 20, for his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world and the things that he has made. So we can take ourselves all the way back to the book of Genesis, and we can see what God has created. And there are hints within his creation. I would say they're more clear than hints, right? It's more obvious than a hint. We can go to Psalm 19. The heavens declare what? The glory of God. The sky above proclaims his handiwork. Day to day, God pours out speech. Night by night, he reveals knowledge. You can look up and learn something about who God is from his creation. Now, theologians generally call this general revelation. Specific revelation being the salvific salvation that is through Jesus Christ. So there's a difference between general and, special revelation. So continuing on. Let's continue to follow the prepositions. Verse 21, for although they knew God, they did not honor him or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. So even though God made it clear about who he is, his invisible attributes have been made clear in his creation, people still rejected the creator. But they became futile in their thinking, their foolish hearts were darkened, claiming to be wise, and they became fools. And verse 23, another preposition, they exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. You know what we call that? We call that idolatry. Just call it what it is. It is idolatry. And when you get past verse 25, like we're talking more about what idolatry looks like in terms of sexuality. It's like verse 18 to 25 is the set. Think volleyball. Someone is setting the ball so the person can spike it. And this is the set, talking about idolatry, to spike the ball in terms about how idolatry is functioning in terms of how a person's sexuality. So back on task in verses 18 to 25. Therefore, verse 24, another preposition, God gave them up in their lust of their hearts to impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies among themselves. This is, again, part of the set to the spike that we read in verse 26 and beyond. Because, verse 25, they exchanged the truth about God for a lie, worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Here are a couple ways to think about this particular passage. Paul's laying out two paths. You can serve the Creator. And with serving the Creator and worshiping the Creator, you see how He has ordered His creation. And in His order, we begin to understand who God is, right? And there is a ton of value in that. There's a ton of value in this idea of general revelation. We can perceive who God is in light of what He has created. And there's order within that. Now, if you begin to worship the creation, then you worship outside what God has designed His creation for. The creation is supposed to point to God, and we worship Him instead of pointing right to ourselves or what He has created and worship that. And that is a massive problem. We need to think well what it means to have faith in who God is, and not faith in ourselves or faith in what we perceive all around us. And when you worship outside of what God has designed, then there are massive negative implications. You're in sin, right? Idolatry is sin. And so the set is going to be well played as we continue forward to verse 26 and beyond, when he talks about what does it mean to be made in God's image, and then what does it mean to be male and female. And there are implications for not worshiping the Creator and instead worshiping the creation. There's much more to be said for this, and I know that even just mentioning this and calling it a set to the spike is maybe raising some eyebrows. Like, what do you mean about sexuality and God's design for that? Well, you can continue reading God's Word and discover for yourself what Paul is trying to get at in terms of what it means to worship the creation or man instead of the Creator. Well, that's it for now. Hope that was helpful for you. Again, I'm just trying to prod you along to get into God's Word. And if you find this particular under 10-minute Devo, you can like, share, and comment. Well, God bless. Take care. And that is it for now. So peace out. Bye-bye.